Hey, seventh graders, welcome to science class. So today we're actually going to take some notes on chromosomes. We've been talking a lot about cell division, and we know that when the cell goes through mitosis, the nucleus is dividing, which ultimately is dividing the chromosomes of the cell. And so we actually need to take a step back and look at what exactly is a chromosome, what are the parts of the chromosome, and also, what is this thing called a karyotype, which is actually a picture of our chromosomes. This will help us a lot as we move into the genetics unit, just kind of knowing where we get our DNA from and what makes us who we are. So as you watch this video, go ahead and pause it, rewind it, do whatever you need to do so that you can fill in each of the blanks and then submit them when you are done. So the first thing we need to do is actually just define what is a chromosome. And this is something you probably are pretty familiar with at this point, but just giving it a formal definition is nice. A chromosome is a tightly coiled DNA. DNA, if you didn't already know, stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. And if we have time, we might get more into the structure of DNA, but we'll have to kind of see how the year plays out with that one. Most chromosomes, when you look at them, they have this kind of X shape to them. So the structure of a chromosome, it has two main parts. Like I said, they usually look sort of like this X shape. We're going to learn later on in this video about this chromosome called the Y chromosome. And even the Y chromosome looks like an X. So we say that it's the Y chromosome, but it's actually an X in its structure. So chromosomes have two main parts. They have the chromatids, which are the two identical sides of a chromosome. And if you look at the picture here, you can see that there's the left chromatid and the right chromatid. And these are kind of attached at this middle part of the X, which we call the centromere. This joins the two chromatids together. So here we have two different pictures, and these are both pictures of a karyotype. This is going to be super important as we get into the genetics unit. A karyotype is basically just a picture of an individual's chromosomes. The karyotype can tell you a lot of information. Number one, it can tell you what the sex of the person is. So if it's male or female. So here, the sex can be found by looking at the last set of chromosomes, the final pair. So if you see two X chromosomes, that means that it's female. So this top karyotype is of a female human being. And the bottom one is actually of a male because you have an X and what we call a Y chromosome. So this determines if it will be a male or a female. You can also see that the other chromosomes in the picture are numbered 1 through 22. And so your sex chromosomes are your last set of chromosomes, because we know from the reading last week that humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. So here we have a picture of the types of chromosomes. So numbers 1 through 22, these are the autosomes. And then the last pair are your sex chromosomes. So that last pair determines if you're male or female. The rest of them determine other characteristics that you might have. There are also things on your X and Y chromosomes besides just if you're male or female, but those are the chromosomes that you look at to see if it will be a male or female. So normally humans have 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs. When a person has extra chromosomes or is missing chromosomes, it causes what we call genetic disorders. So here we're going to look at some karyotypes of some people who have genetic disorders. First example is Down syndrome. So people who have Down syndrome have an extra 21st chromosome. And if you look at the karyotype or the picture of the chromosomes of this human, you can tell that there's 3 chromosomes at that 21st spot. This means that during anaphase of cell division, the chromosomes did not split correctly. So this is why it's super important that our cells go through cell division in the correct way, because if they don't, this kind of thing can happen where you have 2 chromosomes from one parent rather than just 1 from each parent. This is another example of a karyotype of someone who has a genetic disorder. This is Turner syndrome. People who have Turner syndrome are missing a 23rd chromosome. So they're missing either an X or a Y. This person has an X chromosome there, and so they will be female, but they just are missing that other one. So this is Patau's syndrome. This is a karyotype of somebody who has Patau's syndrome. Can you find what is different about this person's karyotype? Once you find it, go ahead and circle the difference. Okay, so now we're going to get into talking about diploid cells versus haploid cells. So a diploid cell, basically a cell that has a full set of chromosomes. So for humans, that means that there are 23 pairs for a total of 46. These are called somatic cells, or basically your body cells. We've talked about body cells a lot already during the cell division unit. But examples of this would be skin cells, muscle cells, blood cells, etc. These are created by mitosis. So then haploid cells, these are cells with half the number of chromosomes. And another name so these are your sex cells. Another name for your sex cells are gametes. And these are the only haploid cells in your body. So for example, sperm cells and egg cells. And these are created by meiosis. So when you look at the karyotype of a haploid cell, you can tell that instead of having 2 chromosomes at each of these markers, you just have the 1 chromosome. So I'm going to flip back to the last slide and look very carefully at the picture. Look at the karyotype. So here, oopsies, I guess I have to go through. Here is the diploid cell, and there are 2 chromosomes at each spot. You get 1 chromosome from your mom and 1 chromosome from your dad. And here's the karyotype of your sex cells. And so these, you can tell they only have 1 chromosome in each spot. So when they are combined with either an egg or a sperm cell, then the zygote or the fertilized egg would have a full set of chromosomes. So how do humans get 46 chromosomes? The female has her haploid cells have half of the chromosomes, and the male has the other half of the chromosomes. So then when they combine, and these again are your sex cells, so the sperm and the egg cells, when they combine, they end up creating the zygote, so the fertilized egg or the child. And then they have, like I said, each of the chromosomes at each of those locations, 1 comes from mom, 1 comes from dad. All right, so go ahead and watch this video by the Amoeba sisters about chromosomes and karyotypes. It helps to kind of clarify a lot of this stuff. And when you are done watching the video, oopsies, let's see. When you're done watching the video, go ahead and submit the notes to receive credit for doing it. Thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions, send me a Schoology message.